Welcome back to Influencer Confidential. I am so pumped for today's guest, you guys, not only because she is someone that I have worked with on one-on-one and in my inner circle program, she is a creator that gives it all and goes hard. Sandi and her family are the creators behind Trying Something New. In this episode, we are going to discuss their $200,000 brand deal. Yes, you heard that right. They got it in just one brand partnership, how they grew to over 2 million followers in 18 months, and everything in between. For the last 10 years, Sandi and her family have been inspiring others to live boldly with their unconventional lifestyle and proving that you don't have to wait till retirement to live your dream life. They've partnered with major brands like Disney, PayPal, BetterHealth, CVS, NASCAR, and more, and over 80% of their income is directly linked to brand partnerships. In this episode, we're going to peel back what it takes to grow that fast and that big, lean into these type of brand deals, and how to get over things like analysis paralysis so that you guys can fly in your content. I'm so excited for you guys to tune in. Sandi, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy that you're here with us.
Thank you so much, Nina. I am so pumped to be here.
I know before we got on this interview, you guys were just like, we need an actual catch up of life, because that's just how much I love Sandi, and our friendship has grown throughout the years, and it's so great to bring her on and pick her brain and learn from her. One thing, Sandi, that really stands out in your growth journey is that you were able to grow 2 million followers across social platforms in 18 months. I think when you think about how your life can change in 18 months, in the big picture, it's not that long. So talk to us about this growth, this boom, because I really kind of want to dig deep into strategy and tips. You know, our audience, our content creators, they're influencers, they're always curious about growth on social, and that's something that you guys have been able to do really well at. So share with us.
All right. Well, yeah, that was absolutely crazy. We had been posting on YouTube for many years because we had our own film production company. So it was natural that we were making videos of our lifestyle, the things that we were doing with our kids. And so we've been doing that for years. And in 2022, we saw shorts were coming on board. We had friends that were going crazy, like growing like bananas, and it was because of shorts. And so one of our friends goes, "Why are you not posting shorts?" And I'm like, we're long form creators, it's not our thing, whatnot. I don't even know how to make a short. But I quickly said, we need to test this out. And we started to make shorts of just our lifestyle, little blips here and there, living in the RV. And it started to take off like quickly. The alternative lifestyle, people had questions. They wanted to see tours of the RV. And I had no idea. So for anybody out there that's questioning, should I try this? Should I try that? Definitely try it, because if we didn't, we'd still be sitting back to, where we were have no idea what the potential was. So yeah, as we started to grow, we really started to check the analytics and see what's working, and then really focus on that and do more of that. And I think that strategy really helped us continue to grow. And it's the snowball effect, because if we weren't paying attention to what was working and just still posting whatever, I don't know if that would have happened. But I'm like a stats nerd. I love looking at the analytics and seeing what's working. And so, yeah, it happened. Like, it was about 18 months or so, and the numbers were insane, and I could not even believe it. And then, yeah, everything changes.
So I have a question, really. Do you think because you guys were first to act on when you say shorts, you mean YouTube shorts, correct? Or do you mean short form video in general?
Short form TikTok? In general, yeah.
Okay, so you were resisting transitioning to this type of space, but you were able to act fast.
Yeah, well, so I don't know why. We just, even like Reels and TikTok was already a thing. We had a TikTok channel, never posted anything on it. And once we started posting, TikTok grew the fastest, and actually YouTube shorts as well. And I couldn't believe it. I don't even know what was going on. It was just insane. And so, yeah, we acted fast. I mean, actually, we were late to the game posting shorts, because all of our friends were already like seeing a lot of success in the RV space, especially. And once we started to hop on, we saw like, okay, this is a serious thing. And so I think being able to track your analytics, though, and seeing what's working really helps you catapult, because you clearly see the results.
Absolutely. One thing, too, that I know that you guys have done, when you said, look at something, when it does well, do it again. Can you talk to us about that one situation where I believe, and share with us how much you made just from that bunk bed story that you've shared with me offline before? Because I think it's really an exciting one, and it shows, how you guys were able to leverage something that did well to also monetize off of it.
Yeah. So at the time, we were living in a 35-foot RV, and we were renovating the back room. We had 3 kids sleeping back there. And so we're like, let's change it and put triple bunks. And so we made triple bunks. We did it in 24 hours, made a video about it. And then I was just doing videos about the triple bunks, and it instantly started going viral on all 3 platforms. And I was like, what the heck? So I started making multiple videos, different types of videos about the triple bunks, and every single one, millions and millions and millions, and like all 3 platforms, which is very rare for one video to hit on all 3 platforms. So it was a joke for me. Like, I just go, let's just make another type of video. What do they love? What do they hate? How do we do it? How do, all these different types of videos. So that to me is when you see something work, do so many different, like, milk it, because obviously your audience loves that type of content. People are intrigued. There's something about it that it's working well. So we've made, I don't even know, at least 6,000 off of just one short. That was probably 20 seconds long, but it's over 100 million views now. We've had so many of those videos go crazy viral. And so we've made way more money than that on just those shorts alone. Yeah, it's
Can't imagine
crazy.
just posting a 20-second video, going viral, and making 6,000 for it. I think that's just really bonkers if you really think about it. But I love what you're saying is basically like if something does well, find different ways to reuse it, to redo it,
absolutely.
to keep to kind of leverage the momentum if a video is performing well, right?
Yep, absolutely.
That's super interesting. Also, regarding growth, I think some of the things me and you have talked about offline is, this analysis paralysis that so many creators face. They just they overthink, it takes the joy out of the process. And I think one thing that me and you have really dove in deep in your content strategy is that you have actual proof that when you post more, you make more. I remember Jimi telling me very quickly, hey, you don't show up to work, you're not getting paid. So for you, this mindset of we got to show up. What are some things, I guess, around this analysis paralysis to kind of get rid of it that's allowed you to just post as much as you do? Because that's one thing that you post, you guys go in and you don't hold back. You don't say, oh, well, I can only post once a day. You're like, says who? We're doing what we want. So talk to us about how that's helped you also from a growth perspective.
Yeah. So as soon as we started creating shorts, I was instantly on all 3 platforms, on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok. I know a lot of people have different thoughts about that. Like, they go all in on one platform or all on Instagram. And for me, I figured, and the money actually is the proof of is why it's so smart to post on all 3 platforms. So I know it's very easy to overthink everything. And I am guilty of that. I'm actually in a little bit of that right now. But I know that when we do post and don't overthink it, and literally, like, there's a lot of people that are concerned about what their feed looks like and everything has to be aesthetically perfect and this and that. And I realize that people like raw, real, especially my audience, they don't want that. And so that actually works out really good because I can post something and just talking to my audience about whatever, and they connect to it. And so that makes it really easy to post a lot of content because I'm not making these highly crafted, highly edited videos. I can post a ton. I have a graph literally that shows when we were posting 7 to 9 a day, especially for YouTube. This really was amazing. I could see the graph, like the audience wanted it. And so it was working. Like, we grew 100,000 subscribers in 1 month because of ramping up how much we were posting. And so I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. A lot of people are like, oh, but your audience must be like too much, like we don't want to see this much. And, first off, then they just don't look. They're just not watching your channel. And really only 10% of your audience sees what you post on the daily anyways. And so for me, it worked. I couldn't believe it. And then the posting on all 3 platforms is huge because we were posting on all 3 and we would get brand deal, reach outs for just TikTok or just Instagram, or now YouTube Shorts is coming on where people actually want to pay for that as well. And so I think about it all the time. I'm like, if you put all your eggs in one basket in Instagram, I would have never gotten any of those TikTok deals, which in that first year was a huge 6 figures easily just from that one platform that I had only started posting 9 months to a year prior.
So what I feel like one of your magic touches is speed. Like, you are fast. You guys are fast. You don't overthink. You don't over edit. You just post. Like you said, you were posting at 1.7 times a day. And you saw the results, the fruit of that labor. And the content, I've always kind of said, sometimes it almost feels like stories. Like, it's not like these 7 posts are highly edited posts. Like, some of them just feel like you're just talking to the camera, moving. You've always talked about the importance of the hook being magnetic, right? So talk to us a little bit about that as well. Like, from the filming perspective, like, you guys are great at storytelling. You guys are great at also just keeping the viewer engaged, but you're also fast and you don't overthink, which I think so many of us do, and then it never goes up. I always say drafts is where content goes to die because people just keep it in the drafts. But you guys get it up.
That is the truth, because I looked at my drafts and go, oh, I totally forgot about that. Like, I will never go back to it. Yes. And people have said that before. Our content could almost be like, oh, I would put that up as a story. And I'm like, why put that up as a story when people can relate to it? In 24 hours, it's gone. And when I put up as a reel or whatever, it's a short, it performs. And so I love that. I think it's just clarity as to what your audience is into. And when you're talking to them, and we do a lot of funny stuff as well, like mother-daughter dances or some funny, memes or whatever. And so those are super easy. You're just doing a voiceover to whatever the trending audio is. My thing is keep it simple, stupid, is like the KISS method.
Yes.
I absolutely live by that.
Let's talk about the KISS method and how that's related to your insane growth. Please talk to us about the KISS method.
Yes. It's that old fashioned way of thinking. Like, don't overthink it. Keep it simple. I'm like, okay, I got an idea. Let's shoot it, and let's shoot it and post it. And so it goes from literally filming to I put it right up on all 3 platforms. And so with that way of thinking, I don't want to take a long time. I don't want to post once a day or once a week no, everybody's got different channels, right? And so ours is more, it's very light, it's positive, it's fun. And so we can do that because that's the vibe of our channel, and I love that it's just always been that, because I do have that freedom to be able to post something. Just like, I don't have to edit it. I don't have to do anything. It's just fun. Like, hey guys, we're here and wherever, and that's what our channel is. And so it's so easy to post. Like, people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I just keep it very simple. I don't overthink it. I keep it simple. I'm talking to the audience, showing where we are, whatever. And then it's possible.
And that's what people love. And I think, again, the overthinking is something so many of us have dealt with. And I love that you guys are fast. Yeah. So, I've had creators come on this podcast and be like, I like to batch, like I like to film once a month or whatever. Everyone has a different style. But I feel like for you guys, it's been always a game of quantity and speed. And having those two like mixed together, you never know what's going to take off. Like the bunk bed video that was 20 seconds.
No idea.
Right?
Seriously.
You could overthink or plan, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of that consistency and that showing up,
Yeah. Now, I love the idea of batch shooting as well. So there's certain things that I do want to batch shoot. Like, we just went on that 5-week trip to Southeast Asia. There's a lot of content where I'm like, top things we learned, top travel hacks, top mistakes, so all that kind of stuff. Those I would love to batch shoot, but in between those, it's so easy to just do those straight shots. And Jimi calls me the one take wonder, because we could do one straight shot, boom. And then if that does really well, then I'm like, that seriously was 10 seconds, So I recommend people trying that. I don't know what everybody's niche is, but just try it. It's worth it. It's worth taking a shot.
One thing you told me too when we were talking about voiceovers, you were like, no one wants to hear a voiceover that's like, hey, no. You were like, guys, ramp it up, let people feel your energy. And even just doing this interview with you, I can feel your energy. So talk to us about how energy through the content, how, you can't be sad on your voiceovers or low, like extroverted or introverted. It has nothing to do with that. This is an energy game. Social media is like a magnetic space. So talk to us about how that has also helped support this wave of growth.
So I think, this is the deal. If I'm doing a voiceover, I'm standing up, I'm walking around, I'm hyped up. I never want to listen to someone if they look like they don't even want to be talking about whatever they're talking about in their voiceover. And so I feel like if someone's going to be listening to my video, I want to make sure I'm giving it to them. I'm getting them pumped up or whatever. And so that's always been my thing. And I'm a big energy person anyways. I love energy. I love being around good vibes. I love spreading good vibes. And so I think that just comes through in the work we do and, our videos and stuff. But I highly recommend anybody that's doing voiceovers, you think about it. Do I want to listen to somebody that sounds like they don't even want to be there? Right. And so amp it up a little bit, because you may think that you're overdoing it, but I guarantee you that it's not going to be received that way. People,
100%.
We get comments all the time. God, I love your energy. I love that. I love this. And to me, that's just so heartwarming, because you brightened up my day. And so if I can be a part of doing anything like that out into the world, I'm like, let's go.
I love it. I love that. So this is awesome. So this growth has obviously led to you guys doing this full time. This is your full bread and butter. And I want to talk a little bit about monetization, because obviously the creators here listening in are all trying to either work with brands or do this full time or make, make their content creation and influence a full-time business. Talk to us about brand deals. Talk to us about the shift in brand deals, how this has helped you, any tips that you have for creators listening in.
Yes. So this has been our full-time income for about 2 years now. I absolutely love it. I think we pinch ourselves all the time that this is what we get to do. We had our own film production company for many years. And, you're always working for somebody. You're always under somebody else's, whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
I love that we get to do this and we put whatever content we want to put out. That's how we make money. And the brands love it, So the thing that happens when you start to grow, the emails start coming in. It's just a guarantee, right? And so as the brands start coming in, the prices just start increasing. The more you grow, the more money you make. And for us, we've seen a huge increase just this year alone as to what brands are paying, brands are willing to pay. And so it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. Talk to us about that one big partnership that just rocked your world and showed you what the other side looked like.
Yeah. So that was actually about a year into our growth. And we got a $200,000 brand deal that we couldn't believe. It was like, what the heck? And so that opened my eyes. Like, okay, this is real. When people, because I used to talk to creators and they'd be like, oh, I made this much this month or that much last month. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm calling BS. Like, can you really make that much per month? And I don't know. I was like, I just doubted it. I'm like, you're just lying. And then once it starts happening, you're like, whoa, like this is no joke. Like you can make more than doctors, more than lawyers, And so doing what I consider just fun. I would do this anyways. I absolutely love making videos. It's fun.
It's like because you guys have that film background anyways, right? And this is something so natural for you guys. I'm going to talk about your background and how you guys got here in a bit, but I wanted to keep talking a little bit more about the brand side stuff. So when you guys started to really start pitching, I know that's how we met. So just for as an FYI, guys, like Sandi and Jimi, I met them because they have our pitching program and I got to mentor them and work with them on one-on-ones. And I've seen you guys like evolve. And I remember this moment that we had. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it was very much like, when will it be our turn? And I talked about this with Olga too. And I've talked about this with everyone. There's always this space right before you kind of like get that really big partnership that you're just like, when? What were some things that helped you? I know you've talked to us a lot about like media kits and proposals and taking this as a business, but what would you say are some things that have helped you get to the other side, especially when you maybe felt like giving up?
The biggest thing is we know this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so even with our growth, like we were doing it for years before it took off. And with the brand deals, you just have to stay consistent. You just have to stay consistent, keep leveling up your game, what you're doing, try to get better every day. And then it starts to work. It literally will start to work. And so you have to believe in yourself. You have to have that attitude of like, I'm going to make it. Fake it till you make it, whatever you have to do. But if you have the vision, you're manifesting. I'm all about that. I love it. And sure enough, like if you just don't stop, it will happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
And also investing in yourselves too, because you guys, are constantly investing in your growth and your mindset and obviously our program and in working together. Like you don't have this mentality of wait, but you guys go and also, invest in yourselves as business owners. So do I, I'm doing that all the time. So I think that's also important for listeners to know.
I think you have to. It's a business. This is not a hobby. It's a business. And I think in any business, you have to invest in the business. And whether it's education, like we just went. So a little side note is we were primarily like an RV lifestyle channel. And now we are traveling worldwide. And so we invested in ourselves in these last couple of trips where all of it wasn't brand deals at all. It was like a couple of different things here and there. But we invested in doing this trip. So we have the content to now put on our channel as worldwide travel creators. So that's something that we're doing right now. And so you have to invest in yourself. And education is probably one of the most important things, because if you have the tools right now, you can utilize them to get your stuff in order as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and go faster. Like, why sit and wait when you guys can just like zoom,
collapse the timeline. I'm all about collapsing the timeline. I don't want to take forever. I know this is a marathon, but there's also things you can facilitate right now to help that grow much quicker.
I agree fully. In terms of brand deals, I know you've mentioned before, at least offline, like you guys in terms of like building your rates, like going up and up and up and up. But what advice would you give to creators who are scared to ask for money, or they don't feel big enough yet? They're still kind of with that imposter syndrome. Well, why should I charge? I'll just take this for free. Any advice for those creators listening in?
Yes, I think we all have to realize our effort is worth money. The filming, the scripting, the everything, editing, there's work involved there. And if these brands were to actually pay for that content, they would be paying thousands of dollars. And so we have to realize we are worth it. I remember years ago we had 16,000 on Instagram, and I was like, I can't charge anything for 16,000. Like, look at all these big creators, I can't compare to that. And I didn't reach out to anything because I thought 16 was worth nothing. And, fast forward now where people with 1,000 followers are making amazing money. And so I think we all just have to believe in ourselves more, and we are worth it. And you got to shoot your shot. Like, you have to go for it. And they know, I think the biggest thing is if more people asked and let the brands know, like, this is a norm, that we deserve to be paid and not just gifted whatever the product is. I mean, we get emails now. Can I give you my $20 gift and you make a reel about it? And I'm like, thanks, but no thanks.
You're like, my time has
over
value.
2 million followers. I'm like, I can't even. It's funny that,
Totally, that they would even expect that. But then think about it, like if you have budget to run ads, why wouldn't you have budget to reach my people, and my audience, right?
Yeah.
So especially when I see brands that are like actively running ads, it's a very different story.
Yes.
When do you know when to walk away? Like, when do you know with a brand deal, like when this is just not a good fit for you?
Well, if obviously if the price is just too low, it almost feels like they just don't respect us as creators, where how about this? And actually, can we meet somewhere around here? Because this is what our normal rates are. And if they're not willing to, I just politely, thank you, maybe sometime in the future, if, there's a different situation with the budgets, we'd love to work with you. So you have to stick to your guns, is what I feel. Is you have like, unless it's a product that I love and I think maybe there's a potential for a future partnership, then maybe there's wiggle room there. But I think overall we have to value our work, our time, our effort, and know when is time to walk away.
Agreed, because you can't be saying yes to everything. And would you say that brand deals is like the majority of your guys' income at the moment, like from a percentage standpoint? Yep.
Yes. It's probably about 80%.
Wow. That's crazy, because that's just to think that this world didn't exist. Like, I don't know, maybe like you said, in a few years ago, right? It's just crazy.
Like 2.5 years ago, this was not at all like $1 of our income,
Yeah.
And it shows you how quickly things can change.
Absolutely. So let's talk about one other element of success that I think is really important, is not really having a plan B. It's kind of going all in. You hear about people who are successful and they just really have this all in mentality. So let's start from kind of how you guys got into this world, because I'll never forget Jimi telling me, he had this job, you had this job, and he tatted his knuckles basically. So he was like, I never want a desk job again. You too. And you're like, we're not going back. And this not going back, I think, is this driver of success.
Absolutely.
So talk to us about like the early stages when you guys kind of got into this industry. A lot of people listening in may not even know about your origin story, about you guys, your background in film, or how you just took your kids out of school, moved into an RV. So walk us through this, like, do what it takes mentality as a big driver of success.
Absolutely. So about 10 years ago, Jimi and I sold it all, moved into an RV full time. And at the time, we had a film production company based out of Vegas, and that's primarily where we lived. We would travel around doing film jobs, but that was our home base. And then we did that for many years. And so with that, we would go on travels and do stuff, and we'd put it on YouTube, just YouTube long form, and we put some pictures on Instagram. And that was basically the extent of our social media. Fast forward to COVID, our film business pretty much got shut down, just like everything in the world. And we pivoted and started to create a course teaching people how to make videos, and people were asking us questions all the time. So we're like, all right, let's make a course. And then we did that for about 1.5 years or so. And that's when we started to post on social media. And then the social media really started to pick up. And then we just kind of put the course on the back burner. Film business, we never really even did anything else with. We just sort of shut it down and just focused 100% on social media. And It was just an easy transformation into one to the other. But it's funny because we had a film business, and so we knew a lot about making videos, but we had to almost like unlearn all of our professional filmmaking to make these shorts and whatnot, because as soon as you feel like you're being like given a professional video, you're like, you can relate more to the raw and the real. So I know Jimi had a hard time with editing because he's so used to that, making it flashy and this and that. And it doesn't resonate with people anymore. You know, there was like the Sam Colders who made these amazing cinematic videos and they were just gorgeous eye candy. And now it's not even a thing. You know, it's more like we're running around and we're doing this. And it's more like in the moment. People want to feel the energy and just super raw. And which is great for everybody because you don't have to have any film background. You don't have to have any experience. You have a phone, you're good to go. You have, you know, some sort of energy, personality, like message, whatever it is, pick up that camera and you can now have a social media channel, which is, I think, amazing because now everybody could be in the game and everybody could have a shot at doing this, you know, which I think is so cool.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying too about like this idea that there's not the right time to go all in. Like it's a decision, right? And I think there's people that are waiting for permission, you know, oh, if I hit this subscriber thing, I can do that. I think you guys mentioned to me, like you're like, we could always go back to our life. Like we could always just go back, get just jobs, like go sit, go back to our home, but let's just try it. Like you guys were like, let's just try this new life alternative, right? You took your kids out of conventional school. You did the homeschool route. Like these are big life changes that a lot of us are scared to do, even if we dream about doing it, you know?
I know. So honestly, we get messages all the time for years now where people tell us, because of you guys, we even meet them. Like we run into people and they go, because of you guys, we sold it all. And we now either travel the world full time or live in an RV full time. And I'm like, that's crazy to think you could have that sort of impact on somebody on their entire life, you know? And that's another thing that I think is amazing with social media is you never know the ripple effect of what your videos can do for somebody else. And to me, that is just mind blowing. Like, wow. But yeah, we did make some huge changes, pulling our kids out of school, you know, selling everything we owned, have a 5x10 storage unit in Vegas still with stuff obviously we don't need because we haven't seen it in years. And then, yeah, went all in. So this is a huge way that we live by is burn the boats, burn the ships. And so there is no plan B. We don't have any backup, anything. We are all in. And that mindset shift actually happened in 2022 when we got our first retainer offer. And we were like, oh, wait a minute, like our channels were not big at all. This is in the very beginning where we just started posting a few shorts and this retainer came in and I go, Jimi, someone's offering us a retainer for, I think it was like 3 or 6 months, $1,000 a month. It was, you know, and I just went, that's pretty cool. Like, I don't know why I was so dumb to all of it, you know? It's like, oh, they want to use us? And we did the retainer and I go, hold on. And for me, literally, it was a light switch. It lit a fire under me like I can't even describe. And I'm so glad it did because that was the pivot right there. Like, that was the pivot where I said, let's go all in. Because we were still doing our core stuff and this and that. And it's a lot of work. Once I made that switch, I just was like, let's go. So we started just what brands we want to work with. So we just started doing a ton of research. The people that are in our niche, RV life, I started just going through everybody's channel. What brands are they working with? I just went all in. And I'm so glad that I had that way of thinking about it because that's what brought us to where we are today. It's absolutely like I went all in. I did the research. I started reverse engineering other people's channels, all the brands, reaching out to all the brands. I got tons of no's, but then I got a couple of yeses. I got another retainer and our numbers were way smaller than they are now. I think I had 16,000 on Instagram. And TikTok was like, I don't know, a couple thousand. So, and YouTube we just had long form, but the shorts weren't, you know, it was everything was very small compared to where we are now, but I went for it. And so that was a huge eye opener where I didn't stop. Like I took tons of no's. And I go, all right, on to the next. And I think that for me was like that fire where I didn't stop. And then now look at where we are. And so now, even where we are now, we have goals of where we want to go. And I know you just stay at it. You stay consistent. Don't give up. Don't slack. And then things miraculously work out, you know?
Yeah. And it's also because, like you said, those are expected. Those are normal, right? It's part of the game. And the more creators just accept that as a process, like every no leads you to a yes.
Absolutely.
So just kind of having that mindset of like, closed mouths don't get fed. They don't. If you don't pitch, if you don't reach out, you're not going to get a no, but you're also not going to get a yes, right? So
Yeah.
this idea of, I love to hear that you guys were just so persistent in that, because I think it shows that you need to advocate for yourself, because if you don't advocate for
Absolutely.
yourself, like who's going to advocate for you?
Nobody, I watched Olga's episode and I love that she's like 100 pitches a month, and it's a game of numbers, right? The more you do, the more you're going to get, or at least you're going to learn along the way.
Mhm.
There's so much that comes out of it. And so for me, this is our full-time job. This is our full-time income. And so I know Jimmy has said before, right? You don't post, it's like you're not going to work. So if we're not doing those things, then we're not going to grow. The brands are looking at your channels, right? And if they see you're not active, then it's like, And so I look at it as a full-on business where and I love it. Like, this is what we do. I don't want a plan B. I don't want to think about any other way to make money or to do, or I don't want to sit at a desk job. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I love traveling the world, being with the family. The kids love doing these videos. And so, it works.
It works for you guys. Now, in terms of building like as a family, right? You guys, I'm sure you and your husband, you guys probably divvy up work in terms of who does what. And I'm sure that's something that just in general that a lot of people may be listening in like, oh, I want to do this with my partner, or me and my husband and our family would love to kind of get into this world together. Working with family, it's the oldest thing in the book, has its joys and benefits. It's also hard. So how do you guys kind of balance this idea of like private time as a couple or public time or workload, time off? Is everything content, or are you guys able to kind of like, hey, he focuses on editing and this, you focus on this? Do you guys have a routine? You've been doing this for so long and you guys are really good at it, and you're really like, you're high functioning, so you must have something, or you must have a system.
It is very clear who does what. I do the entire business side of everything. We both film, and then if it's highly edited, he'll do it. And if it's just an easy edit, straight shot, I post everything. So it is very clear. We know what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. So I handle all business, posting, all of that. And then he films basically everything unless I'm doing like a straight shot selfie or whatever. Yeah. And that definitely works. It works. It's very
clear
easy.
guidelines. Like, this is your energy, or this is my thing. I think what I love about both of you, that you guys both also like, you have the same, I don't know if the word is work ethic, but like you don't balance each other. Like you're both
crazy.
Yes, I wanted to say. So like my husband and I, we get into stalemates because like I anchor him and then he anchors me and we don't move. But you both will be like, boom, we're selling the house. Boom, we're going to Asia. Like, and you're able to move fast because you guys have similar values,
Yeah. And, there's pros and cons to that.
Of course.
There's pros that we could be like all in, and then there's cons that we can also get lost because the ADHD brain is like, let's do this. So we're like, oh, focus.
Yes.
So yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to that, but overall it's more positive than negative. So
yes, I was talking to one of my friends recently. She's like, I'm so happy I get to do this with my partner because, we both get to live this life together and we support each other. And I'm sure there's a lot of goodness that comes with working. It's also probably hard. It's probably not for everyone too, but it's.
Yeah, we hear a lot of people say, I wish I could do that with my wife or husband, but they want nothing to do with it. And I'm like, oh, that sucks, because it is fun. It is fun to do this all together. Like if he had a remote job where he was on the computer, 8 hours a day and I was doing all this, I would be like, it would be disjointed a little, but you got to do what you got to do. But yeah,
exactly.
I'm very fortunate and lucky that we're both in. And that's how we ran our film business as well. I handled the business side. We both shot. He edited everything. So it kind of just easily pivoted into the social media.
What would you say is like a career highlight so far? Obviously, a $200,000 brand deal is a big one because that's pretty monumental. Nice. Yeah.
Man, we've had so many. We work with NASCAR and a lot. We've worked with them for many years now. And those are they're very experiential. And so when we get to do like 6 days at a NASCAR track, camping on the infield, the kids love it. I love that we do work with our family because the kids are a part of all of this. And so they get to reap the benefits of all the cool things that we get to experience. So I would say NASCAR is a really fun one because we do it sometimes multiple times a year. That's really fun. We did a Komodo Island boat tour in Indonesia just recently. That was amazing. I think anything that we can create that inspires our audience is also huge for us because that's really the passion behind us creating all these videos is sharing it with our audience and the feedback from them and showing them a different way to live and things that they could do with their kids. I think that's always a huge perk as well. Huge bonus.
And you guys, what's your following across like all your platforms right now?
I think we're over 2.3 million now.
That's crazy. That is just crazy.
It is crazy. I can't believe it.
Do you feel like with engagement or people messaging you, sometimes creators, they'll say once you get to a certain level, it's hard to respond to all the comments or it's hard to keep in touch. Is that something that you do in the business or how do you kind of nurture community?
I do. And it's so hard because I want to answer every single comment. And it's basically impossible unless I would have put like 2 to 3 hours a day aside almost every single day to respond because we have the 3 platforms. There's comments on all 3. And especially when a video goes viral, then there's, it could be 1,000 comments. And so I try my best to answer as many. I need to put more time aside because the community is everything. And I absolutely love the connection that we have with so many people. And especially when we meet them in person, like they'll spot us on the street somewhere and they feel like they know us. And that to me is just so heartwarming because it's like this like spider web of friends around the world. People noticed us wherever we were in Southeast Asia and over in Paris. And it blows my mind. The community is everything.
So Sandi, speaking about brand deals and pitching, do you have any examples of like a pitching strategy that really helped you secure more brand partnerships?
Yes, absolutely. So actually something that I learned from your course, Nina, was having a killer media kit and a pitch deck. So we're doing this 25 bucket list adventures in 2025. And we made this beautiful pitch deck that modeled after one of the ones that you have in your course. And the feedback has been amazing, like absolutely insane. Even Disney, we sent it to Disney. We worked on them prior and wanted to pitch this idea. And she wrote back in capitals, "Oh my God, your pitch deck is amazing. I wish you would teach other creators how to pitch like this." And I was like, "Are you serious?" So I was like, I have to tell you because it's directly because of you. So thank you. We have learned so much amazing nuggets of how to stand out. And that's the goal. That's the name of the game really with pitching is so many people are pitching all these brands. How do you make yourself stand out? And with that is doing your research.
No, and I know that for us, like if you can get them on a call, you're going to win them over. So it's like this idea, especially you're so magnetic. It's like, get them on a call, right? Like, how do we just get them to talk to us? Because once you do, it just helps the pitch solidify.
It does. Because you can't feel energy through email. It doesn't matter how cute you are with your words. You just can't get that energy and they won't know how magnetic you are, how you might be the perfect fit because an email is just blah. So that's where I think the media kits and the pitch decks can come in really handy because you could show your flair, your vibe, you could feel a lot of energy through those kind of pieces. So highly recommend doing that kind of stuff because you could have a regular email pitch, which may be amazing, but when you add those attachments where they go, whoa, it blows them away. And I know firsthand because we've heard it not just from Disney, but many people where it stands out. And so I know that that's been a huge helper for us in landing a lot of deals.
Love that, guys. So listening in, your pitch materials matter. Your marketing materials matter. Your media kit, your portfolio, that matters because it's about getting their attention. And I think that's something that so many creators, especially in this competitive economy, like you said, a lot of people are pitching, but I always say a lot of people are pitching, but if you're pitching the Sidewalker way, you're ahead of the curve because you are entering the conversations, as a true professional. So Sandi, before we wrap up, a little bit of a quick lightning round just to have some fun here. So dream brand collab.
Ooh, my gosh. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, Tahiti Tourism Board.
Yes.
So Bora Bora.
Let's go Tahiti. Where are you guys at? If you could recommend one piece of equipment for a new creator starting out besides a phone, what would it be?
Microphone. The DJI, the Rode little microphones, because if you don't have good audio, that's like 60% of video. So you have to have good audio.
Love that. Is there something new that you guys are trying right now in your business or something new that you guys want to push yourself to do? I know your big bucket list challenge was something big for you guys this year.
Yes. Well, that is probably the biggest thing that we're working on right now is we're doing pitches to everybody where it's like gear, clothes, tourism boards. So this is new for us because, we're pivoting into travel worldwide, not just RV anymore. And so I am in the game of imposter syndrome. Like, are we real travelers? That kind of stuff. And it's funny. I hate that feeling, right? But it's the same thing. Fake it till you make it. And then once you start landing these deals, then you're like, oh, okay. You see all these big travel creators that are doing amazing things and amazing content. And you go, am I okay? Like, can we match that? Can we, and absolutely you can. Absolutely. And so that's a huge thing that we're working on right now.
I think a lot of the imposter syndrome, especially what I keep hearing on this podcast, is that it doesn't go away no matter when you have 2 million followers.
No.
You would think, oh, I hit that number, like I'm it. And you're telling us, no, you still feel it.
No, and it's okay. I think it just keeps you on your toes. So I think it's almost a healthy thing in a sense, because if you feel like I have arrived and I'm here, well, then guess what? Your edge kind of, I think, goes down a little bit. And so, because your attitude, the drive's not there, the hustle, the fire, the passion, you sort of get like, yeah, I'm here. And I don't ever want to feel that.
I agree.
It's okay.
I agree. I love this idea of keeping you on your toes. I think that's super important. And I think that at the end of the day, those nerves, that excitement, it just kind of creates not only better content. You don't want to ever get comfortable. You always want to kind of be uncomfortable in your biz too, right?
Absolutely.
Because once you get comfortable, y'all, and I can speak from this, once it becomes rinse and repeat, there is nothing more deadly to a business when you kind of take your hand off the gas. Yep. And you're just kind of like,
lose that edge. You
yeah,
never want to lose that edge. Never.
I know. Do you ever find, because you're at such a high quantity and quality, but really churning out content, do you ever suffer with burnout, or do you ever just kind of get tired of it, or did you just kind of figure out a system that works for you so you can keep writing it out?
That's a good question. So yeah, we definitely have times where I'm just like, okay, but that's lack of planning. That mainly comes from lack of planning and having a strategy. So now that we're back from our trip, that's the main goal right now is, we're all over the place. And so that's can be beneficial in some ways because we're easy to move and pivot and all that. But if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. And so that's where I think for us, the burnout starts to creep in, is we feel like we're chasing something, and I don't ever want to feel that way. And so right now is focus on like a bigger 90-day, 6-month plan to where we know what we're kind of content we want to put out, how much, and then get that under wraps. And so with that, I think that will lessen the burnout. Absolutely. But yeah, it's inevitable.
Right? It's inevitable with our business to just, because especially when we're always posting, I mean, it's part of it. But
and things are always changing, and you start to try new things. And then, so yeah, it can get overwhelming. But I think if you're smart about it and you get yourself, we are not strategy people. We are not like the system people. And so it's hard for us. I think that's where maybe the burnout could come in, is like trying to get that dialed in. And so if you are systems people, I praise you because I don't have that.
Yeah, but they may not have your speed. They may have systems, but they may not have your speed.
Right?
Yeah. So you never know. You never really know. Well, thank you guys. Well, you, Sandi, so much, and Jimi for lending us.
Thank you.
This has been so awesome to hear firsthand. We're so happy we met you, and we've been.
So happy I met you.
Yes, and got to be part of your journey and see you flourish. I get to have such cool people on this podcast. So many of them students that have become friends, that will become family. So I love what I do. I have such a cool job too. I get to be kind of a part of all your guys' successes and wins and just cheer from you from the side. Like, I love that,
Well, Nina, I have to say a huge thank you to you, because you are a huge part of our success and collapsing that timeline with your course and your coaching and all of that. So honestly, like that, I believe is an integral part to how we have become so successful so quickly, is we learned from you and actually put it into action. Like I don't want to watch your course or anything that I'm investing in and not use it. And so I watched, I learned, I used it, and then I started to see the results. And so I Thank you, Nina.
I love
'cause
that. I
you
love
are a
that.
huge part of this.
It's awesome. Well, I always say, you got your wins are my wins too. So I'm excited for all
Oh.
you guys. And like I said, this is the best part of what I do. So thank you guys. And Sandi, where can everyone connect with you, follow you? I'll put it in the show notes, but if you just want to shout it out really quickly so that way people listening.
Absolutely. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, on Facebook too, but we really don't post there. And it's trying something new. Try the letter N, something new. And yeah, we'll be there every day.
I love it. They really will be, guys. They post every day, multiple times a day. And they'll get you hooked with their content. So go ahead and give them a follow and check them out. They're living with purpose. They're living authentically and they're living their dreams. And it's fun to watch.
Trying.
We're trying over
something new.
All right. Well, thanks, Sandi.